7 of the Great Lock-In. We are making yoga a daily habit. I'm going live every day for the month of September. And today we're doing, it's going to be a little different, so this isn't a regular flow. We are actually doing a pose breakdown. So I'm just going to go through 10 of, maybe not 10, a little less, I think 8, of the most common yoga poses, and then just different variations, modifications, and things like that. So first things first, we'll do child's pose. So for child's pose, this is a resting pose, and for this, we typically would do it with so you have your feet together here, and then your knees are out wide, and then you would just bring your chest to the mat, bring your arms up to the top of the mat, and then rest your head on the mat. You also want to keep your hips down as well. And then just another option for child's poses, you can also have your forehead on a block. So there's one option. And then you can also, with your knees, have either your knees out, or you can have them together for child's pose. So those are two different options for child's pose. And then also for your arms, you can either have your arms straight forward and straight on the mat, or you can have them to your side. So that is child's pose. Our next one is cat-cow. It's a pretty common one. I do use that one a lot for my warm-ups. So in a child's pose, you would start in a tabletop position. So you would have your your wrists are underneath your shoulders here, and then your knees are directly underneath your hips. And your feet are just flat on the mat. Your fingers should be spread out. Okay. And then for the first part, you would just you're dropping your belly towards the mat, towards the ground. And then at the same time, you're also lifting your tailbone. Okay. And then as well, for the front of your body, you are lifting your chest. Okay, bring your shoulder blades together, you're opening up your chest. And then your gaze, so you should be looking up at the ceiling. And then coming down, you would tuck your chin, and then create that arch in your spine. Nice little round in here. And then for breath, you would inhale as you come up, and then exhale as you round the spine. Now this is a great movement if you want to stretch your back and your spine, or if you sit a lot. This is a great counter movement. It's a good warm-up for any yoga practice, warming up the spine. You typically want to do these slow and steady. Yes, and a common mistake with this is that people may tend to just move your neck, but it's a whole body movement. This is for the spine. So you are rounding your spine. That one is our cat-cow. Next we have downward dog. I have a lot to say for downward dog. It is the most common pose. It is also a transition pose. So Typically, you'll find if you are doing a movement that requires you to get back to the front of the mat, you may be in downward dog and then hop to the front, or three-legged dog, which I will also show you. You would go from that to step forward, and then maybe going into a lunge or extended angle, or yeah, any other movement where you would need 1 foot forward. So I'll show you downward dog. Typically getting into downward dog, you would either come from a tabletop, like we just were. So then you would just bring your hands at the top of the mat, tuck your back toes, lift your hips, lift your knees up, and then send your hips back into the downward dog. Now just remember, downward dog works your whole body. If you hold this, you will start to feel it in your shoulders, okay? And then in your legs, everything. One thing to consider, you want to press your hands into the mat, and then your heels, you want to try to touch the floor, but don't force it. Okay, that's also one of the common mistakes, trying to really push your feet into the ground. You want to aim to touch it, but all right. So that is our downward dog, and then another. So I'll just show you another transition. So that's how to get into it from a tabletop position. You may also go into downward dog from like an upward dog or a cobra. So that might look like this. So you would inhale, come up, and then exhale, tuck the toes into your downward dog. That is one. And then another transition might also be just going from plank, which is the same thing. So you're in plank, and then you would send your hips up and back into downward dog. Ideally, you do not have to shift your feet. If you're coming from plank, you know that you're in a good position if you don't have to move your feet around from plank. Is there a question? Okay. And hi, Elsie. All right, so there is, okay, so those are how to transition into downward dog. And then a couple different variations for downward dog. So from here, you would send your hips up, right? And then maybe a three-legged dog. So lift your leg up here. That would be three-legged dog. And then you can also open up the hip. And then again, for the three-legged dog, you may use it as a transition. This one. And then another way you can also work on your upper body as well in downward dog. So I will show you that one here. So you're in downward dog. And then you can also walk your hands to the back, and that puts some more weight on this right hand here. So that's how you would work your upper body a little bit in downward dog. There you go. And then you can also work your calves as well. So maybe bringing 1 foot over and then lifting your heel up and down. Other leg up and down. So those are just some of the different variations for the downward dog. Does anyone have any questions? Hello. All right, so we have downward dog, and then we also have plank is our next one. Okay, so for plank, you want your wrist underneath your shoulders. You want to step your right foot back and your left foot back. A common mistake is just having your hips really high. You want to have them straight. You also don't want to dip your hips either. So just having them straight. Plank definitely works your core. You can also, there are modifications for plank. So this is just your regular plank here. And then you can come down to your knees. Okay, this is one. So anytime if you are in a class and plank is required, coming down to your knees is a common modification for that. And then also for side plank, that's a variation. This. And you can either stay here, bring your left arm up, and then a modification for a side plank, you can drop this knee and extend your left leg, and then your arm is up. So that would be, this is gate, which is a modified side plank. There are a lot of different variations of plank here. You can also lift one leg up for plank. And plank can also be on your forearms as well. This would be a forearm plank. All right. So that is our plank, and then our next is extended angle. All right. And then for extended angle, so let's say if you were doing it on the left, okay, so this left foot would be facing forward, this back foot is at a 45-degree angle. You want to bend this knee, and then place your forearm on your thigh, and then your right arm would sweep over. Okay, and then you can also just have your hands on the ground, and then your right arm is up. And then another option too is you can also use your block. So your foot is forward, knee is bent. That would be your extended ankle. And then you can also do it on the other side as well. For your extended ankle. And then, and you do want to make sure that you are putting your weight in your leg and not just weighing down on your hands. So for here, you want to make sure that you are using your legs as well. And then another option for extended angle that you might see is to do a bind. So for a bind, so if you have your left arm is resting on your left thigh, right, and then your right arm is up in the up pointed toward the ceiling, right? So the arm that's up in the air, you would bring that arm around, okay, behind you, and then this arm that's on your thigh, you would try to grab that hand. Okay, that's how you would do a bind in your extended angle. And you want to keep your chest open, try not to sink in, bring that shoulder back for your bind. And then you would just release to get out of that. that is extended angle. And then we have two more poses. We have cobra, two that are often get mixed up. So I will show you the difference between the two. So first we have our cobra. Okay, so you start with lying flat on the ground. Your hands are at the top of the mat. Your feet are flat. Okay, and then you are just pressing up. You have just a very slight bend in the arm. But you're just pressing all the way up, bringing your chest up. Okay, and then sometimes maybe you want to look to the left and the right. One of the combinations that I love to do is to do this with frog, half frog. So if you have your left leg extended out and then pressing up for half frog. And it's a good stretch so that you can also incorporate your hips as well. All right, so now for upward dog. Upward dog, your arms are going to be completely straight. And then you're pressing into your feet, but you are lifting your thighs off of the ground. So your legs should be off of the ground for up dog, and it is more difficult than cobra. So this one, so we are pressing up all the way. See how I am off the ground. Your chest is still open, looking up. Okay. That is our upward dog. And then if you find that both of those are difficult, you can move into your Sphinx. So then you can have both of your forearms on the mat and then just coming up like this. So it's more of a gentle back bend, so you're not going back all the way. All right, so those are some of the common poses that you might see in a yoga class, and just some different variations and modifications that you can use along with those. And I hope you enjoyed that today. I will be going live every day in September. I do want to help you if you are looking to make yoga a daily practice, to really show you how that can be done. I'm participating in the challenge for the Great Lock-In, where we are really focusing on our New Year's goals and building healthy habits. So let's build them together. Have a great day. Thank you so much for joining this live, and I will see you in the next one. Namaste.